Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my firm assists physicians with employment contract issues. One thing I thought I would talk about today is when should a resident physician start looking for a job? This is a complicated question. So first, I do contract reviews every day for physicians, and a large percentage of them are individuals getting their first jobs who've never had an employment contract before. They're either in their last year of residency or last year of fellowship, and they have an offer that they want me to look over for them. There are occasions where I have maybe there's a multiple year fellowship, or there may be a PGY2 or something like that, where they already have an offer that won't begin for 2 years, and they want me to look at that as well. And so let me just give a couple words of wisdom just from doing this for a couple decades now. One, if you are a resident or a fellow and you know absolutely where you need to be geographically, maybe you have to move home, maybe you have a significant other that maybe is completing training themselves somewhere else, want to move close to family, whatever it is. If you have a pinpoint location in mind, it is probably a good idea to get started sooner than later. Meaning, start looking for a job when you still have a year, 2 years left in training. Think of it from an employer perspective. There are employers who don't have immediate needs for a physician, right? So, if they're run well, then they'll have financial forecasts, and forecasts as far as what the patient load is going to be. Perhaps the practice is expanding and opening a new office, but they're not going to open it for a year. I guess what I'm saying is employers know that they have a need for a physician, but sometimes it's not for a couple years down the line. So that's why an employer will start looking immediately for a position that's not immediately available. Once they get out there and they kind of see some candidates, and even if that candidate has 2 years left in training, it's not uncommon for them to offer them a position and have them sign an employment contract. So one benefit of looking early is just simply getting in before someone else takes the position. And so the earlier that you look at the position, the more likely you'd have a chance to get it, if that makes sense. Next, the downsides of kind of going early. So what's the negative part of finding a position, kind of far out from when you actually are done with training? Well, obviously, if you sign an employment agreement that doesn't commence for 2 years, and then you have some kind of change in family, maybe the significant other that was supposed to move to one city is now moving to another, or there's a sickness in the family. I mean, there's a million things of why, at one point a location is perfect and then 2 years later it's not. So the downside of signing early is that things may change in your life, but you have a signed employment agreement. And so then it gets into, all right, well, how can I terminate this agreement even before I've started? Are there any penalties associated with it? Some contracts have built in that if the physician doesn't start, that they will owe some kind of penalty. So I would suggest before signing an agreement that has that kind of language in it, you should probably get it reviewed by someone to kind of go over the ramifications of, all right, what happens if I sign the agreement? I either can't start or don't want to start, and then need to get out of the contract. Another possibility is you sign early and then you get a better offer. So maybe it's just a better opportunity for you. The compensation's more, the benefits are better, whatever. that's kind of that's always the concern, is that if you sign a contract early, you're kind of foregoing any potential opportunities down the road. Now, some employers are okay with letting someone out with enough notice. The contract will have like a notice requirement, but if you haven't even started, most employers are understanding if there is some kind of actual, change in family circumstances. They're not as forgiving if it's just simply, this person's paying me more than you, I don't want to, complete the terms of this agreement. They are, once the contract is signed, the employer is relying upon you to start. So they're going to stop recruiting anyone else. They're going to make plans to either, bring in more volume for patients, or maybe the office that they're opening up is contingent upon you being there. So, it's not just, I guess there are problems for both sides if the physician doesn't want to start. The employer really could have some damages associated with the physician not completing the terms of the agreement. Overall, I'd say the sooner the better to start looking. However, just taking the first offer and signing an employment agreement without comparing different offers is a bad idea. There's almost always multiple opportunities for somebody, and just to accept the first one, just because they are the first one, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I would suggest that you look at multiple offers, kind of gauge the compensation structure amongst them, and then kind of go from there. If you have any questions about maybe a potential employment agreement, you can contact my firm with the number listed below in the description, or you could always reach us through our website, ChelleLaw.com. That's CHELLE law.com. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and take care.